Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 16.21, Dragon Demon Devil Part 4.
I notice he misspelled Dragon again in the title of the chapter.
Sorry, it should be Devil.
Devil with an O?
Yeah.
Welcome back. Last episode was a pretty good one.
Yeah, we started doing a new voice and pretending there was a third person.
No, we have to have Weiser back on. She was great. I got absolutely mogged on though, so I have to restore my credit in this chapter.
Okay.
You ready?
That
was me preparing. That was me hitting you with the fa sol la mi. I don't remember how it goes. Dragon. Damn, you killed that shit.
Thank you.
Dragon Hadrian flew through the skies of serendipity. That little lobby had not been nearly big enough to host the fight that had come for him. Even the arena of the Absolute wouldn't be enough for two opponents of that level. In a situation like this, the best recourse was the endless, empty air. Not that it afforded him that much protection, all things considered. Are they on, the top layer of serendipity?
Yes, right now.
Dragon zipped through the air as a ricocheting trail of light, narrowly avoiding the thrust of a flying spear each time he reappeared for a moment. Technically, he probably could have recorded the spear into Gemini Railgun and fired it back, but he didn't want to risk it. Unlike Gemini Dominion, Gemini Railgun didn't have nearly the same amount of protection against interference by what he recorded. It was entirely possible that Victory could continue controlling the spear as information inside Dragon's Aether, and there was no happy ending there. So, for the time being, he darted and he dodged. If he had a saving grace, it was that the two titans here to kill him were here to kill each other as well. This was not a 2-on-1, but a 1-on-1-on-1. Each stab of Victory's spear was accompanied by an attack from Victory's body upon Nebula 1. Each blast from Nebula 1's chassis was accompanied by a block of Victory's last barbarism. In a fight like this, it was possible to slip through the cracks of notice. There were openings to be found for those with the eyes to see them. And the Prince had the most experienced eyes in the galaxy. Dragon disappeared again as Victory lunged in, trying to tear his face away, and then reappeared high in the sky, above even the tallest skyscraper of the city. His gaze set and his face flush with tension, he raised a hand and beckoned a starry sky of blue aether concentrations above him. Gemini Railgun! It rained fire, blasts of force, rushing past his enemies so fast they were nearly impossible to avoid. Nearly was the key word, though. Even though both opponents took hits as they flew upwards, breaking armor and breaking skin, they both avoided lethal blows as they closed the distance. Gemini Railguns forcing them to move in certain patterns to avoid the bombardment. If I just target the paths those patterns necessitate, Gemini Coil Gun! The sky shone an even brighter blue as Dragon filled it with his fury, great roots of annihilation spreading over the aerial battlefield in an instant. To tell the truth, Dragon Hadrian had become quite fond of his Gemini Coil Gun Beth quickly. What? Oh, Gemini Coil Gun very quickly.
Wait, Boring Man. Be Boring Man.
Hold on.
Beth Boring Man.
It hadn't failed him once so far, and part of him expected it to bring a swift end to this battle too. But these were the big leaks. Dragon's Breath! It was the work of an instant. Fei Long withdrew the infusion from his gauntlet and then infused it again, turning it into a brand new armament in the process, one specialized for the situation at hand. At hand. Very good. Is he me? With a flash of green light, the gauntlet projected a massive barrier in the shape of a spread-out handbrake. Is he just Green Lantern? Blocking the oblivion light of Gemini Coil Gun before it could reach Fei Long. It split over the edges instead, blasting wildly in every other direction as its targeting was thrown off, like rain crashing against an umbrella. You're gonna get sued. You're flying close to the sun here, buddy.
What do you mean?
You made him Green Lantern!
He just did a green thing.
He did a green thing. His gauntlet glows green and then makes a green hard light projection that shields him? They're gonna kill you!
Justice Gang's gonna fucking kill me.
It was quite the big umbrella, too. Fei Long... Oh, you know what? That'd be a fun Aether technique. Copyright, and if you use a technique the user's seen before, it doesn't work anymore. It was quite the big umbrella, too. Fei Long hadn't intended it, but there was enough room that Victory had darted in to take cover, too. Just a meter or so away. Hey, number one! Victory grinned, his eyes wide. How about it? This guy's a threat to us both, right? How about we call truces until he's dealt with? Fei Long's blood boiled. How many people had Victory killed today? Most likely the number was already beyond counting. Well, there's a lot of numbers, buddy. The first of them had been a Jamilu Aguta, a comrade, a warrior. Did the demon really think Fei Long would forgive that? Just for some temporary strategic benefit? Did he think this was all just some kind of game? Fei Long's fury rushed up to his mouth. Compass! Victory giggled. Fei Long's eyes! The fact that Fei Long was maintaining the barrier meant that he couldn't block as quickly. The spear slammed into his visor, shattering his helmet, Fei Long's long, dark hair billowing in every direction. As the spear went in for the kill, though, Fei Long twisted his head and caught it between his teeth. Many people are doing this, holding it in place with his divinely infused jaw, even as it struggled to continue its deadly flight. Victory laughed, ignoring the fact that he'd nearly killed the only thing keeping him safe from the Supreme's attack. Good dog! You like fetch, huh? The coil gun finally abated, and Victory took his chance, rushing at Fei Long and slamming his shoulder into the first among nebula. As Fei Long was spiked through a skyscraper below, nearly bisecting it, Victory slapped his hands together in satisfaction. He's doing the zesty Sonic thing.
Yeah.
And then caught his spear out of the air again. Smiling easily, he looked up at the distant and radiant figure of the Supreme. He's a pain, huh? Victory nodded towards the distant plume of smoke Fei Long had left at his destination. Believe me, he'll basically toss out a counter to whatever you throw at him. It sucks. How about we team up until he's dealt with? Far above, the Supreme narrowed his eyes. What are you having? Compass! Said Victory. Dragon Hadrian's weak point. As the spear tormented the Supreme like a Godspeed wasp, Victory swung his head back towards the collapsing building with relish. Saliva dripped from his lips. His easy smile had already malfunctioned into another feral grin. Don't think I'll let you rest, number one! He kicked off thin air, catapulting himself towards his target like a human missile, and far below, Fei Long did the same. He launched himself out of the rubble, an explosion of pressure created by his kick alone, his form becoming a streak of green light to match the pink rushing towards him. For a moment, the battle was just the two of them again, two opponents of equal ferocity and wit coming to kill each other. That was their error. After all, they were coming for each other in a straight line. Is this the right technique you have here?
Yeah.
Gemini World. Aether could move much faster than any human body, especially when guided by the wisdom of the prince. Given the advantages Dragon Hadrian had stacked atop his soul, he has no problem, I assume had, no problem evading the spear's pursuit for a moment, so he could intercept the flow of battle. He appeared between Fei Long and Victory, one palm pointing towards each of them, his makeshift white cloak billowing in the breeze like a divine mantle. There was something about being so fast, Dragon reflected. If an obstacle appeared in your path, you had no time to avoid it. You would rob yourself of that opportunity. They really shouldn't have taken their eyes off of him. Not for a moment. Even though these two doubtlessly knew not to approach Dragon Hadrian in a straight line for 2 meters, they had gone ahead and approached each other in that fatal fashion. All he had to do was pop up in the middle, and given how fast they were, a simultaneous capture was no problem at all. Dragon Hadrian smiled. Gemini Dominion. The white light began to clear. It's bright, chuckled Forgiveness Irons, but we don't have the same kind of eyes. Baby, baby, baby. A toy Musashi stared in shock. Forgiveness Irons hadn't escaped the mini almighty unscathed. Far from it. The attack had flayed him from head to toe, leaving only the black cloth over his head intact. Even for an Aether user, being stripped of your skin like that should surely mean a miserable death shortly after. But Forgiveness Irons was standing there, blood dripping from his form like he'd just gotten out of the shower, and talking. I have a theory. Can I state it?
Yeah.
I think, and I've been thinking this since last episode, because he does all the organs, right?
Yeah.
I think those are his organs. He's just like gushes them inside people. And that's why he's not dead right now, because all his organs are elsewhere. He's shoving them in bodies or corpses or some shit. Perhaps that had something to do with what was underneath his skin. Eyes stared at Musashi, eyes in places they shouldn't be, bundled together like grapes. A grinning, diagonal mouth bared its flat teeth at him from Forgiveness Iron's chest. Writhing tendrils dribbled pus from underneath his fingernails. Twitching micro-limbs peppered the surface of his body, unfinished fetal drafts. Musashi felt like he was going to be sick. The first thought I assume that had dragged him back to that terrible day on Panacea, the day that everything had truly started to go wrong. Gene Tyrant, he thought. Forgiveness Irons is a Gene Tyrant. But no, this was different. Clarity returned to Musashi a moment later as he pointed a radiant at the monstrosity. This wasn't a sentence. This was disease. Yeah, because he's using Aether. You should know that.
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah, he was triggered. Leave him alone.
He demanded, voice low. Forgiveness Iron slowly cocked his head beneath that hood. You didn't hear. You were here. I saw you, though. I saw you. Right there, all fury, all boiling. I said it out loud. Honest contagion. I said it. It's my little... Now I kind of want to voice him like Trump. A little bit. It's my little surprise. Now you can see the world the way it truly is. I can't? No. It's my little surprise. Now you can see the world the way it truly is. And now the truth can spread. Why wouldn't I use it on myself? Now you can see it too. The great pig that rules the world. Vision like the common cold. A-cha-cha-cha. Musashi's eyes flicked back over to the elevator, to where Forgiveness Irons had first dropped the severed head. It was just as the madman said. The lump of flesh was spreading out, having lost its shape entirely, infecting the floor around it, and transforming it into something fleshy and wrong. This was Forgiveness Iron's ability. Honest contagion. It forced the world around him to reflect his delusion. It even warped his own body, too. Musashi took a single step back and almost stumbled as the floor subtly shifted beneath his feet, a low creaking noise running throughout the entire building. There we go. Iron sighed. That's the way. I'm drooling on the inside. What have you done? Musashi barked. I opened eyes on my way up here, little baby boy. I've got a way about me. Oh, Irons moaned. It's a sad kind of history, but architecture has its limits. Flesh can only hold up metal for so long. Eventually, you've got to choose one or the other. You basically had to translate whatever this brute was saying. By the time Forgiveness Irons had opened that elevator, it was already too late. He'd already used his honest contagion further down in the seat of man, on the supporting structure, and now those supports of flesh were failing under the weight of the building above. This whole place could come down. Why? He muttered. You're in the building, you fool. You'll die too. Have you ever heard the story of the frog and the scorpion?
I think Victory heard that earlier in the chapter.
I'll dance. What'd you say?
Truce?
Truce. I'll dance, Iron sighed. And I'll dance. But oh, I'll never die. I don't mean to be lewd, but when you hit me with that last one, I sort of arrived. You'll miss next time. A-cha-cha-cha. Words were useless. Only blades had a place here. Atoy Musashi took a deep breath and darted forwards. The world was white, the world was empty, the world was blank. Victory whistled to himself as he floated through the void, hands clasped together, legs crossed, somehow even more unmoored from gravity than usual. This was Gemini Dominion, right? Victory remembered seeing it from behind Jamilu's cowardly eyes, more impressive on the inside. Ah, well, he thought, closing his eyes as if he were beginning to meditate. If it's got rules, I can break 'em. Conquest. Roll out the answer. Nothing. Victory opened one eye a crack. Conquest? Still nothing. Ah, Victory thought, looking down at his hands. I see. His hands clasped together, not holding his spear. It had been left behind, left outside in the real world. Sorry, I had to wait for Tan to write that sentence in real time. He could even feel it in the back of his head, sending him a signal from outside this non-existent space. He could control it still, but it couldn't reach him here. Compass and Conquest were out of his reach. Well, no biggie. He'd killed nastier foes with just his flames. Victory opened both his eyes and spread his lips into a confident grin. And then that grin froze. Dragon Hadrian was looking down at him, but not as he'd been outside. Now, inside the palace of his mind, his form was as big as the sky, his long cloak took up the stretching horizon, his cold eyes replaced the burning stars. When he raised a hand, ready to bring it down on Victory far below, it looked for all the world like he was doing nothing but swatting a fly. Why didn't he do this in Art 13? Is he stupid? Tan?
Well, he's got several power-ups in very recent history.
Oh. Casually, Victory glanced off to the side, where Fei Long had just arrived. He'd flown to this part of the archive on wings of fire, clearly intending a sneak attack on Victory, but the sight of the massive Supreme had obviously caught him off guard too. Slowly, his wide gaze returned to Victory's cocky smirk. Victory shrugged cheekily. Truce? He asked. I'm gonna be honest, I would just remove the he asked, just end it on truce.
Okay.
It's poignant. Truce? Wow. What a chapter.
Would you have a truce for Victory? Would you believe him like the 5th time he asked for a
Literally the first time he tried to stab his eyes out. I would never.
And then the second he did the exact same thing to Dragon.
He's literally evil.
He's literally the Scorpion.
This is fucked up. Alright, hold on. Let's pull up those questions, shall we?
And Musashi is having to fight Freaky R Nebula.
Alright, you ready for this?
Freakiness Irons, yeah.
Hold on. Here it is. Oh, fuck, there's so many questions to get through. Lan asks, if Dragon kills someone inside Dominion, is their body banished or does it get spat out?
When someone's died inside Gemini Dominion,
Yeah.
they get spat out, yes.
Lan also asks, can someone awaken inside of Dominion? But isn't that what happened to Dinosaur?
When he says, well, I think when Lance is awakening, I think it means in the sense of someone dies and then the Aetheral Awakening happens.
Oh, well, can they?
It would manifest very differently, I think. More of like a corruption of the space, and it would be much more difficult. But I think, theoretically, maybe...
I mean, when I turn Dragon's fucking ability into my location stand? That can't be good for his mental, to have fucking awakening inside his head.
There's a ghost in me.
There's a ghost in me. Path of Noel. Let's see. Oh yeah, Pyra had a question. He didn't put it because he chickened out, but I'll ask it for him.
Okay.
He wanted to know because it seemed like Fei Long and Dorothy Iroh had kind of the same power. What's the key difference in its structure? Well, they both fill a thing with intent and it does what they want, right?
Well, basically, Dorothy commands things, controls things. She can heat things up. She can lift them around, telekinesis, adjacent sort of stuff. But basically, with Dragon's Breath, it's more like he's running a program. It's like, I need something to deal with this problem. Make this thing.
ChatGPT generate Aether armament.
Conquest is basically ChatGPT in a little sense.
He really is the villain.
Victory is like, Grok, is this true?
Room asks, oh, did you hear? I came up with an ability that I thought would be a hard counter to Victory.
Oh, yeah.
And or Morgan Wuming. So it's an ability that basically works the same as Encore in Pokemon. So you use on someone and they can only use the last technique they used. So if Victory used Compass, he couldn't deploy the counter technique because it's a different ability.
Yeah,
would that work?
Yeah. It could work, yeah.
Ooh.
There would have to be some sort of trigger, like you'd have to get them with something, I think.
Yeah, you'd have to hit them. Alright. Rurum asks, what was up with Imperator 1? Who made them? How good of a Supreme were they? And do any active parts of... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So Imperator 1, also known as Emperor Imago, was originally the Executioner V3. We know the Executioner models were basically early on Supremacy designed to take on Aether users. The previous Supreme, Karios the Canny, worked with Halcyon Interstellar to create the Execution V3. He left, for reasons unknown, he left most of it to Halcyon. And when the Executioner V3 was first brought online, it went on an instant rampage, killed everyone present, and Karios came in to destroy it, and then it killed him too.
And do any active parts of Imperator 1 still remain following them, no longer being Supreme?
Well, Imperator 1 then became Supreme, for all intents and purposes, for about a year. And it was basically Robot Sauron during that time, building an army of automatics and building the Sheshanaga as sort of its flagship.
Are there any robot parts of him left?
I'll get into that a little bit at the end, because there's a lot of Imperator 1 lore in my head. And I was
by all means, keep going.
So basically, Gale the Golden and his Heroes of Form originally were a resistance movement against Imperator 1. They boarded the half-finished Sheshanaga, killed him after a big battle, and became Supreme. And then Gale the Golden finished building the Sheshanaga. and that's why
the executioner models we saw in 11 were the more advanced version of what they were, right?
These were like branches of development. So the executioner V3 was meant to be like, this is the big guy. We don't need to worry about the executions anymore. But it was too big. It was too good.
Did it have Aether, or was it just like that cracked?
It was that cracked. It had no Aether.
Did it have like any kind of mind of its own?
Oh yes, it woke up with a mind of its own instantly that wasn't put into it by intentionally.
So presumably, because it was built, there were like schematics of a sort. Has anyone ever tried to build it again?
They have not, no, because it became clear. So the secret behind Imperator 1 was it was actually sort of an Arcana automatic, the Emperor.
Really?
So the Emperor basically is a digital intelligence. It usually doesn't actually have a body. What it does, it like hangs out in the background society and manipulates things.
So it just embodied the assassination thing.
Yeah, so it like behind the scenes manipulates like tech people and companies to build it a body, which it then instantly possesses and goes on a rampage. But in this case, it was so strong that it would just kill the Supreme like right after waking up.
So where's the Emperor now? Did it get killed along with Imperator 1, or did it escape?
Well, it doesn't matter if you kill like the Emperor body. So it's
right, but if he was a consciousness, couldn't he have just like fled?
He did. It's still out there.
Oh.
So there's even like people from the Final Church, like the Paradisus, whose job it is to like look out in society and see the signs of a new like Emperor body being built, which is called.
Will Imperator 1 ever come up in canon? Because if not, I feel like that's an insane ASRP arc waiting to happen, especially with Blair's robot guy.
I don't think he'll probably come up further in the story that I'm writing right now.
Okay. If we have your blessing, then I maybe need to talk to Blair, because that'd be so insane of an arc with Camille if the Emperor just like took over. I'm just saying, that would be holy peak. Hold on, I have to ping Blair right now before I forget.
So I mentioned as well in an earlier question the automatic that Cadmon killed. I said it was Emperor Lava. So that's like there's like a terminology for people who do Emperor watching basically on how powerful the resultant body is. So,
oh my god.
Imperator 1 is Emperor Imago, it's classed as, while that Supreme that Cadmon fought was Emperor Lava.
Okay. Very interesting. Wow, that was cool as fuck. Okay, Rurum asks, how much value does my Chicken Punk memorabilia have now? I have a signed t-shirt and the misprint Chicken Punk, the Chicken Hero card.
It's skyrocketed because he's fucking dead. Yeah.
Rurum also asks, can I, the average Supremacy citizen, just look up a list of special officers? They're public-facing government employees, after all. Do they have badge numbers?
They do have like a public database, yes, but you probably won't get some of the ones like Palatine's like details on there. You'll know that Palatine exists, but you won't have like much detail.
I can't possibly imagine Baron LaFleur with a body cam.
Like... Oh no! It's just so you know who they are.
Yeah.
It's just so, like me, John Rando, can't be like, "Hi, I'm a special officer."
So I had a question related to that, and I think I may have asked this very, very early in the series, but I don't remember what the answer was. To that extent, are there any like fighting games or trading cards themed around Supremes or special officers or figures?
I don't think officially a lot of them, but like at a certain stage, a Supreme is like a historic public domain character, so you'll get stuff like inspired by previous Supremes sometimes.
But no trading card game?
Well, you could. That's what I mean. It's like
you
probably won't have one of Cadmon. That would be considered disrespectful.
I tap 3 Aethers to summon Baron LaFleur, and then I tap him to use his ability to create 3 Trident tokens. I don't know why Baron LaFleur is my Scrimbler today. There's so many questions I want to ask. I don't know how long you're willing to let me drag you around.
Keep going.
Rurum asks, how many Gene Tyrants could the averagely educated Supremacy citizen accurately name?
It depends. It's like probably around like 30.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious
who
about
among
that.
those 30 would probably change depending on where you are.
Right, because like everyone knows like, you know, like the Mussolinis, the Hitlers, the Churchills, yada yada, but like not every political figure ever in existence. I'm curious which Gene Tyrants were like the ones that stood out for public education.
There's Eve, of course. That is the big one. That was like the Gene Tyrant's equivalent to a Gene Tyrant.
Yeah. Damn. I need to know more about Eve at some point. Did she ever come up?
Is long since dead, is what I will say. And I'll say the same thing that I said for Imperator 1 / the Emperor. It will not come up in this story I'm writing right now.
I'm so excited for more Aether content. But you're not doing Aether after this, right? You're going to do the urban fantasy.
So what I'm thinking is after this is going to be a long-running urban fantasy thing after Aetheral Space, and then maybe we'll get Aetheral Voids. But I won't promise that.
Are those like non-canon alternate storylines, or like
That would be
like I have
a
stories?
new story in the Aetheral Space sort of universe.
Wow, you gotta let me guess and write a void at some point. That would go crazy.
No, I mean like it would be like that'll be the name of the sequel essentially.
Oh, it would be a sequel series.
Yes.
I thought void would be the code word for like this is a short Aetheral fic of like set in this story.
No, the story will be called Aetheral Voids.
You should. I mean, you kind of already have it. You should just open up Aetheral Space like Star Wars, where it's like everyone can write as long as they follow these rules.
I love the fan fiction. I haven't. You know, my Sebastian Wolf has not gone out to like take people's fanfics down.
Facts.
Even though I keep asking Darnell to do that, he won't do it.
Yeah. Blur asks, could you ego emulate Bruno?
No, he's not dead.
Weiser asks, how does Forgiveness Iron's neural implant work to keep him obedient and stop him speaking using his Aether ability? Does it specifically block his will, or just keep him from ever having the mental state to use it?
So it just does not allow him to do it. He can try and do it, but it won't work.
And then I have a question.
It's like it's very much a restraint. Like he is aware that he's being restrained and he's pissed off.
Oh, okay, that's fucked up. I had a question.
And then Good Samaritan Nyan saved them.
Yeah. Thank you, Nyan. Thank you for your service.
Everyone's Nyan.
Alright, I had a really fucked up concept I wanted to run by you.
Okay.
So, like, we know Bruno and Serena, right? Where they share control of the body. They have different personalities. They have different powers.
Yes,
so we know that kind of format can work. Could you do, like, a Severance-esque procedure where there's, like, different personalities entirely unaware of what happens when another one's in control of the body, unable to communicate? Then train each of them as, like, different Aether operatives, and then be like, do what I say, or I'm going to turn you off, and you don't know when you'll get the body back.
Yes.
Swapped.
That's very possible.
Oh.
Absolutely do that.
Because I was thinking about it where you, like, train up whole squads, and you only have to feed and, like, equip one guy, and you just, like, do that to people.
Well,
and then, like, train them.
Yeah, you could.
That's so fucked. Ugh. Lan, final question, and then we're caught up. Lan asks, do people power scale Supremes, or is that considered blasphemous?
They absolutely power scale Supremes. But like I said, there's a certain sort of cut-off point where it's considered acceptable. Like,
Yeah,
you could probably, like, say that, like, power scale Renee the Raven, for example. But people would be like, oh, that's in bad taste if you power scale Catman right now.
I thought people were calling him the Indolent.
Yeah, well, he's sort of getting the full brunt of that guy wasn't so good propaganda anyway. Even though he wasn't so good, but, like, the pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, well, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.